Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a name rarely whispered in hushed tones, has found a new windmill to tilt at. And this time, it's a big one. On June 3, 2025, she announced her staunch opposition to a sneaky little AI provision tucked away in President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, or OBBB, as the cool kids are definitely not calling it. Apparently, this provision, lurking on pages 278 and 279, slipped past her gaze when the bill first bulldozed its way through the House. Had she known, she proclaimed with her characteristic subtlety, she would have slammed the no button so hard, it would have registered on the Richter scale. This isn't just a minor quibble for Greene, oh no, it's a full-blown assault on states' rights, a sacred cow she's not about to let some fancy AI bill put out to pasture. The core of Greene's righteous fury, and frankly, a point that makes you sit up and spill your lukewarm coffee, is that this provision aims to slap a 10-year ban on states regulating artificial intelligence. Yes, you heard that right. 10 whole years. For a technology moving faster than a caffeinated cheetah on a skateboard, a decade is basically an eternity. Imagine telling the Wright brothers in 1903, "Great job with the flying thing, guys, but no state-level safety rules for airplanes until 1913, okay? Just trust us, it'll be fine." Greene argues quite vociferously that this federal overreach effectively gags the states, preventing them from protecting their citizens from whatever digital Frankenstein we might cook up next. Why is this potentially dangerous, as Greene puts it? Well, let's be honest, AI is a bit of a black box, isn't it? We're building something that could reshape society for better or, and this is the scary part, for significantly worse. Think about it. Deepfakes, autonomous decision-making and critical infrastructure, job displacement on a massive scale. These are not science fiction anymore. Greene's argument, stripped of the usual political bluster, is that states need the agility to respond to these emerging threats. A 10-year moratorium essentially says, hey states, see that rapidly evolving, potentially society-altering technology? Yeah, you can't touch that. Good luck, it's like putting a toddler in charge of the nuclear codes and then locking the parents out of the room for a decade. So, what's the Congresswoman's battle plan? It's simple, direct, and throws a rather large spanner in the OBBB's works. Greene has declared she will not, under any circumstances, vote for the bill when it boomerangs back to the House for final approval, unless this AI provision is surgically removed. Given that Republicans are clinging to a majority so slim you could floss with it, they can currently only afford to lose 3 votes on any party line measure. Her defection is not just a minor headache. It's a full-blown migraine for the party leadership, potentially derailing a bill that carries many of their flagship policies. This isn't just a protest vote, it's a high-stakes gamble. Let's delve deeper into this 10-year moratorium, shall we? Because the details are where the devil, or in this case, the potentially rogue AI, resides. This isn't just about preventing states from cooking up new AI laws for the next decade. Oh no, it's far more comprehensive and arguably far more alarming. The provision, as written, would prohibit states from enacting or enforcing any laws or regulations targeting AI models, AI systems, or automated decision systems. That means any existing state-level safeguards, any rules already on the books to, say, prevent discriminatory algorithms or ensure transparency, could be rendered null and void. It's a legislative muzzle, effectively silencing state-level oversight for a very, very long time in tech years. The provision itself is rather coyly nestled within a section of the OBBB that directs the Commerce Department to allocate funds. Funds for what, you ask? To modernize and secure federal information technology systems through the deployment of commercial artificial intelligence. So, in a bill section about upgrading the government's own computers with fancy new AI, they've slipped in a clause that fundamentally alters the balance of power between federal and state governments on AI regulation itself. It's like ordering a pizza and finding a clause in the delivery terms that signs over the rights to your firstborn child. Sneaky to say the least, and it raises questions about the true intent behind its strategic placement. Now, this One Big Beautiful Bill isn't just about AI, of course. It's a sprawling piece of legislation that managed to pass the House in late May 2025, specifically on May 22nd. Its greatest hits include extending President Trump's 2017 tax cuts, because who doesn't love those, apart from people who like funded public services? It also aims to boost funding for border and defense priorities, classic Republican crowd pleasers, and on the flip side it proposes cutting spending on programs like food assistance and Medicaid. So, you see, this AI moratorium is attached to a much larger, politically charged vehicle, making opposition to one part potentially perilous to the whole shebang. Greene's decision to draw her line in the sand over this AI provision is therefore incredibly significant. As mentioned, the Republican majority in the House is wafer thin. They can only afford to lose 3 votes. And guess what? 2 other Republicans, Representatives Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Warren Davidson of Ohio, had already voted against the OBBB during its initial House passage. If Greene sticks to her guns, and she's not exactly known for backing down, that's 3 nays right there. This could force a serious rethink, a frantic negotiation, or even see the bill stumble at the final hurdle in the House. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for AI but for the entire OBBB agenda. Now, you might think every Republican would be up in arms about federal overreach concerning AI, but plot twist. There are differing viewpoints within the grand old party itself. Some House Republicans, bless their hearts, argue that a patchwork of state laws could be terribly confusing. Imagine 50 different sets of rules for AI. It could be burdensome, they say, hindering technological innovation. Their solution? A unified federal framework naturally to preempt all those pesky state laws. The idea is to create a single, clear set of guidelines from Washington, ensuring that AI companies don't have to navigate a complex maze of regulations. It's the one ring to rule them all approach to AI governance. But not everyone is singing from that federal hymn sheet. A rather substantial group of 260 state lawmakers, from various states and presumably various parties, penned a letter to House and Senate members around June 3rd. Their message was clear: this AI provision would undermine ongoing work in the states. These are the folks on the front lines already trying to grapple with the impacts of emerging AI technology in their communities. They're worried that a decade-long federal ban will halt their efforts to manage everything from AI-driven job losses to algorithmic bias in local services. They see it not as streamlining, but as strangulation of local control. And it's not just state lawmakers and a few renegade Republicans raising red flags. Various Democrats and several tech watchdog groups are also sounding the alarm. Their concern is slightly different but equally pressing. They worry that establishing a comprehensive federal framework for AI could take an eternity. Washington isn't exactly known for its lightning speed, is it? While Congress dithers and debates the perfect federal law, AI systems will continue to develop and deploy, potentially without adequate safeguards. The fear is that this 10-year moratorium, pitched as a way to create order, could inadvertently create a regulatory vacuum, jeopardizing the safety and fairness of AI systems. Adding another layer of complexity, or perhaps just another voice in the cacophony, is Elon Musk. While his criticism on X wasn't solely focused on the AI provision, he lambasted the OBBB as a whole, calling it a massive spending bill and a disgusting abomination. He argued it would balloon the federal deficit and undermine government reform. This highlights broader fiscal conservative anxieties about the bill. Meanwhile, President Trump himself took to Truth Social to defend the OBBB, particularly lauding its spending cuts. So, you have internal Republican splits on AI, external criticism on fiscal grounds, and a former president championing the very bill causing so much consternation. It's a regular political soap opera. So, the OBBB, with its controversial AI passenger, has cleared the House, for now, and trundles over to the Senate. But don't expect a smooth ride. Oh no, the Senate has its own special brand of procedural fun, and one particular rule is already causing furrowed brows: the Byrd Rule. Named after the late Senator Robert Byrd, this rule is a key feature of budget reconciliation, the process likely being used for the OBBB to bypass a potential Democratic filibuster. It essentially acts as a gatekeeper, ensuring that only provisions directly related to the budget make it through. And this is where our AI moratorium might hit a rather large procedural wall. The Byrd Rule specifically prohibits extraneous matters from being included in budget reconciliation packages. What's an extraneous matter? Well, it's anything that doesn't primarily change federal outlays or revenues. So the big question is, does a 10-year ban on states regulating AI primarily impact the federal budget? Or is it, as many suspect, a significant policy change that just happens to be hitching a ride on a budget bill? Proponents might argue that a uniform federal approach to AI could indirectly boost the economy and thus federal revenues, but that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? It feels more like a regulatory power grab, dressed up in budget clothes. Ultimately, the fate of the AI provision in the Senate, at least concerning the Byrd rule, rests with the Senate parliamentarian. This nonpartisan officer interprets Senate rules and will issue a ruling on whether the moratorium complies. If the parliamentarian deems it extraneous, it could be stripped from the bill, much to Marjorie Taylor Greene's delight, and perhaps to the relief of many state lawmakers. Adding to the bill's Senate woes, some fiscally conservative Republican senators like Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, and even Susan Collins have reportedly voiced concerns about the OBBB's overall potential impact on the national deficit and entitlement programs. So the AI fight might just be one battle in a larger war over the bill's soul. What does this all mean for the future? Well, the passage of the One Big Beautiful Bill is looking decidedly less certain. Greene's opposition, coupled with potential Senate roadblocks like the Byrd rule and fiscal concerns, creates a precarious path forward. More broadly, this entire saga throws a harsh spotlight on the urgent and complex debate surrounding AI regulation. Who gets to decide the rules for a technology that could redefine our world? Should it be the federal government, aiming for uniformity? Or the states, allowing for tailored responses and local accountability? Or, as this provision dangerously suggests, should we just stick our heads in the sand for a decade and hope for the best? The answers will shape not just tech policy, but the very fabric of our society. No pressure then.